I'm 3 off here and I'm going to go for it. And when you've got Harry Kane, it'll just pick you out. You know, he can pretty much close his eyes and knows where he is. You've got a great chance of catching him.
And then you mentioned, of course, add to the mix, Kulusevski, part of that front three. Are you impressed with how quickly he settled into
Amazing.
that three?
I mean, I can't tell you how difficult it is to play in the Premier League. And for a foreign player to come over, sometimes I've had some superstars who come over from abroad and have been absolutely rubbish in the Premier League. But this boy has seemed to, you know, he took it to like a duck to water. He's 21 years of age. They've got an option to buy him at 29 million. Now, when he first came in at 29 million, when he hadn't played, you think, well, might be a lot of money. It is an absolute snip at the moment. This boy's got an eye for a goal. He's settled in with world-class players up front with him in Son and Kane. I mean, he's enjoying his time there. Without doubt, they're going to trigger the option at the end of the season. I think if they leave it another year, another season, then I think the price goes up somewhat. He's 21 years of age. He's an asset to the football club. He will only get better. He's been absolutely outstanding. We have to give Antonio Conte, Paratici, the sporting director.
Because he came under criticism, didn't he, at the beginning, because they thought, oh, he's just gone to the club he knows, brought in a couple of players last minute, but it's worked out pretty well.
It's not about how much you spend on players. I keep saying it. It's about who you bring in. You know, it's 29 million. It's a cup of tea. It's nothing in the Premier League now.
It's an expensive cup of tea.
It's expensive. It's a round of drinks. It's nothing compared to what we've seen other clubs waste on players.
Exactly.
That is an absolute snip. But they found him. They know him. They trust in him. And they brought him to the club and they knew he could settle into that. And he settled in so quickly. And Bentancur's getting better by every game as well. He's not set the world alight at the moment, but I can see there's something there. He's going to be a very good player as well.
That's the thing, though. That, you know, your West Ham, they had a good opportunity to recruit in the window in January. They didn't. Man United have blew half a billion over the last number of years. Arsenal, credit to Spurs, have gone and got rid of 4, got 2 in, and you go in, turn, they could get Champions League now. So you're spot on. Like, between the best and the others that are going for it, they've had the best window, and it's no coincidence they're now higher momentum and flying. And
you can imagine with Bentancur and Kulusevski having more time under the likes of Antonio Conte, this team could be a force to be reckoned with. Well, let's head straight back to Villa Park and get more reaction. But this time from the Villa boss here is Steven Gerrard.
Well, Stephen, the score says 4-0. How on earth do you start to explain that?
Yeah, it's tough. It's difficult. I think the scoreline's certainly harsh on us. But it's the reality and we have to accept that. I have to accept it. Obviously, I'm responsible for it, so we'll do that. But the story of the game, certainly we're in a 4-0 game. It's the first time in football I've gone off at half-time and been trailing and being really proud and really happy with the first half performance. I thought we were magnificent. It's the best we've played since I've come in the club. We never took our chances, if you're being ultra critical. But at half-time, I said to the boys, look, if we can continue this, I've got no doubt we'll at least get back into the game. But the second half, the game flipped, and Tottenham's quality players made it about our backline, and they punished us heavily.
The backline played its part early on as well. Giving a lead to the opposition again happens again.
Yeah, listen, obviously, analysing the first goal, it's a long, straight ball. We could have defended the first contact better. We should have more bodies around the second ball. They get a little bit of luck off Matty Cash with the block, but they're ruthless in front of goal. But to be 1-0 down at half-time was certainly against the run of play because it was so dominant for 45 minutes. Everything we asked of the boys in terms of the game plan, we were outstanding. The chances we've created against the top side, we created enough first half to win 2 or 3 games. We asked for them to maintain that, and look, we tried to do that, but we talk in this club about defending the red zone, which is the emergency zone around your 18-yard box. Tottenham punished us heavily in that red zone today.
It's a totally different scenario to last weekend's defeat. Is it harder to lift players after this sort of defeat or that sort of defeat?
Well, look, we've got time. I'm not sure that's a good thing. I think after a defeat, a sting and one like that maybe you don't deserve to be on the end of. You want the next game to come pretty quickly, but it is what it is. I've got to pick the players up. That's my job. We will do. We'll be ready for the next challenge in a couple of weeks. But, I mean, our first half performance today, I want us to remember that because that's how I want it to look consistently. And when we do, we'll become a really good team. But we've got a lot to learn. And defensively in the second half, we've got even more to learn.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, he mentioned that first half, and any manager, I'm sure, Tim, would have been so delighted with that first half. It was a very Steven Gerrard-esque first half performance, wasn't it, with the passion and with the fight. So what changed so drastically in the second half?
I think you have to give Tottenham credit for it. Obviously, the intensity dropped off. They wasn't able, you asked me the question, can they maintain it? I thought because of that home crowd on their side, they would have been able to. They couldn't. They couldn't handle the 3 world-class players in Tottenham's forward line. They could not handle that, and they couldn't break it through in the end. Couldn't get the ball into Coutinho, was making them tick in the first half, and they lacked any sort of penetration. As much as and I said it at half-time, he'd be delighted going in there. The only disappointment was the scoreline, but he would be absolutely delighted with the way his team played. But he'd be equally disappointed the way they capitulated in the second half. And I thought they were very poor in the second half. I thought that after Tottenham come out and scored early, in the second period. They down tools somewhat, and that's certainly not Steven Gerrard. But what we did make the point. Now, between now and the end of the season, he's learning about this group of players, which ones he wants to keep, who wants to come on a journey with him, because he's going nowhere. He's authentic. When you look at him, I believe him. When he talks to me, I believe him through that screen. And when he's face to face with you and he's talking to them players, they also believe him. And they need to stand up and they need to listen. They're lucky, some of them, to be at a big club like Aston Villa. If they want to continue to be there, then they need to pull their socks up.
And they're certainly lucky to have a manager like Steven Gerrard that they can learn so much from.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes in football, as an attacking player, you have those off days where you have chance after chance after chance. But what you do is you defend right. You don't concede 4. If in your attacking third, everything's going everywhere, you don't concede 4 at home. That's criminal. You know, some of the defending was poor. Like I said, if you get popped by a team and they play through you and they, hands down, are just a better side. But the 4 goals they conceded today were really poor. It's like first balls, second balls, positions of players. That would be, for me, would be the frustrating thing, because sometimes putting the ball in the back of the net from when it's not going is the hardest thing in the world. But you have a clean sheet mentality, and that was a difference today. Tottenham have got 3 fantastic world-class players, but I still think they could have defended those situations a lot better, and I think that's where they fell short today.
Absolutely. I just think they drew. You're absolutely right what you say, Karen. They never popped it around them, never mesmerised them to the passing patterns. It was straightforward. Konsa and Mings are not good enough. On that, what we see today, now they might have had, I don't think Mings is good enough anyway. I think Konsa's had some good games. No, the consistency level is just not there. They need to find defenders, or they need to improve the ones they've got. They're still capable of improving. I think Stevie could work with them, make them better, give them a little bit more cover in front. But at the moment, if you want to move up the level in the Premier League, you need defenders who can defend on their own. Those 2 centre-halves cannot defend on their own. They need to be covered up.
And Villa actually have a really poor record against teams starting the day in the top 6. They've lost all 10 of those games. Speaking of those top 6, 7 teams, Tottenham, this is where they find themselves, 4th in the Premier League table. How important was today's result in that race for Champions League?
It was massive, because you saw Arsenal drop points, Man United drop points. And what's interesting, I think Spurs play the next game first. So psychologically, if they win that before anyone kicks off, they're already at a huge advantage. So for me, it's psychologically great. They're scoring goals. They kept a clean sheet today. And also look at it. Out of the teams that are kind of in the mix for that 4th spot for Champions League, who would I want in my dressing room as my manager would get that 4th spot? And it would be Conte.
Well, you've teed that up beautifully, because here he is. Let's get the thoughts of Antonio Conte.
Antonio, when you came into Tottenham, one of the jobs was to change the mindset, to make Tottenham tough. Did we see that today? Was it a tough, hard-working Tottenham performance?
Yeah, I have to be pleased to see this commitment, this attention, this accuracy in every situation, because the first half was very tough, because Aston Villa brought high intensity. They tried to put a good pressure. For this reason, and we showed a great consistency and to be solid. At the same time, when we were in possession ball and we created chances to score, and today we scored 4 goals. We created other chances to improve the final result. For sure, a good moment for us, and the hard work that we did in these months was important. For sure, to work and to prepare the game, to have available, to have 6-7 days to prepare the game. It's very important. It's very important because you have time to take care about the details, to improve with the ball, without the ball, and the tactical situation. A good result in a difficult stadium, a fantastic atmosphere around the players, and a great win.
Of course, a big smile there from Antonio Conte at the end there. He talks about improvement. How much has he improved this side?
When he first came to the club, we give him absolutely no chance to finish in the top 4.
They were 9th, weren't they?
No
he said that as well.
No chance. The way they're performing, he's transformed them. He's very demanding. He's making them all accountable, and he makes them all want to be in the side. And also, one thing he's got Harry Kane ticking. He was not starting.